Alright, hey everybody, this is Gigoku7 and welcome back to more bonus episodes of Pokemon Stadium. In this episode, as you can see on the screen right here, this episode is about the Transfer Pack and what you can do with it. This is going to be the first bonus episode recorded after the grand finale of beating Mewtwo. And there's no script or something like that. We're going to just enjoy the moment. So, the Transfer Pack, what is it exactly? It is an accessory that you can attach to your Nintendo 64 controller, and then you can insert a copy of Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, which then unlocks some extra features in Pokemon Stadium. There's 3 features that I'm going to be covering in today's episode, and let's start off with the first one. The first feature that the Transfer Pack allows you to do is you can transfer over your Pokemon that you trained in Pokemon Red, Blue, or Yellow to Pokemon Stadium and then use them. So, this is how that looks. You see your cartridge right here. If you have multiple controllers with multiple Transfer Packs and multiple copies of Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, you will also see those copies right here. But as you can see, you can browse through your team that you currently have on your game. Mine are Pokemon of level 50, especially for that I especially trained for this opportunity. And you can scroll through your Pokemon in the boxes, like Moltres, Articuno, and Zapdos, for example. You can also, let's see, I have more Pokemon, but you can only use Pokemon of level 50 to 55 in the Pokécup, so those other Pokemon that I have won't appear because they're mostly level 20, 30, 40. So, I'm going to pick these Pokemon that I have in my team right now, and I'm going to show off one battle, I believe. Now, you can even register these Pokemon, so if there's a point in time where you don't have your Pokemon Red, Blue, or Yellow cartridge inserted into, into your controller and Transfer Pack, then you can still use these Pokemon. They'll be registered, saved to the cartridge. Alright, so this is a fighting and poison type trainer. So you can even check the summaries of your Pokemon by pressing the R button and then the command that you use to select them. So I want Kadabra, I want Nidoking, and I want Snorlax. Now, the Pokemon that I have especially trained for this opportunity don't really have the most effective movesets. Because I also wanted to not have any HM slave Pokemon to progress through the game. But this is my Kadabra. He's pretty strong. Unfortunately not strong enough to one-hit KO this Nidoqueen. So I'm just going to finish this battle. And then I'm actually going to show off the Elite Four and the Champion. Alright, the next Pokemon. Let's see here. Prime. Alright. We can also Psychic Primeape. If a Pokemon happens to be faster, then I can use Thunder Wave. Alright. There's really this satisfying feeling of accomplishments, knowing that you trained your Pokemon yourself and now they're fighting for you in 3D on the screen. It's a different kind of feeling of beating an opponent with rental Pokemon, because all the training went into the team that you're using. But that's one battle that I wanted to show off. Let's move on to the Elite Four and the champion. Save and quit. Alright, so we made it through the Elite Four. Now you get a chance at fighting the rival. Now, one thing about the rival that I've said before is that his team changes dependent on if you have a copy of Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow inserted. Now, I don't know if for this particular team, I've inserted a copy of Pokemon Red. I don't know if for this particular instance he will use the exact same Pokemon in Pokemon Stadium as he does for the final battle in Pokemon Red. I'm not 100% sure of it. But if it is, then that's pretty cool. If it isn't, well, at least it's quite a challenge to beat him. So, what Pokemon do I want to use? Let's see, his team is fairly well balanced. I want to start off with Snorlax. I want Nidoking. And I want Pikachu. Alright, let's go.
This is truly it, the final battle against the rival. This is the final act in a long and arduous quest in the Gym Leader Castle.
Alright, Dodrio, we can defeat him with Ice Beam. Now, Snorlax is not a special-oriented Pokemon, so this won't one-hit KO. Luckily, Snorlax has a quite a good HP and pretty decent defense, so he will be able to survive these offenses for a few turns. Alright. He's retreating the Pokemon. Blastoise, okay. We can use Body Slam against you. Hopefully you will be paralyzed when we do that. For backup, we have, of course, Pikachu. Hydro Pump is going to do quite a bit of damage. Alright, Body Slam, hopefully it may not attack. Alright, that's actually pretty good. So we'll get another free Body Slam. Or he switches out, that's fine too. Executor, alright. Executor is quite a slow Pokemon if I remember correctly, so maybe we'll get another free hit in with Ice Beam. Let's see, this team is pretty beatable. Let's see here. We can use Nidoking's Ice Beam for you. Let's see here, Nidoking. Now, Nidoking is a mostly physical-oriented poison ground type Pokemon. However, it does have a decent special, so it can make use of Ice Beam and Thunderbolt. Ooh, that animation is actually pretty funny. Let's see here. Psychic will do a lot of damage. And it critical hit. If it didn't critical hit, I think we would have survived that hit.
There's a difference in the number of reserve Pokemon. Oh, it's Pikachu. There's only
Let's
one
see.
Pokemon
Body Slam
against
should
three.
be able to do it in 2 hits.
Become one-sided. What now? A decent hit. It's paralyzed on the spot. What a furious battle.
Alright.
What's that? Yeah,
Pikachu is a lot weaker than I thought he would be.
it can't make a move. Neither one is conceding an inch. Body slam.
And a critical hit when I don't need it.
Oh, is it down and out? Here's a Pokemon trick.
Alright, Blastoise. That should be 1 or 2 Thunderbolts. If it's a critical hit, it's a 1-hit KO.
Thunderbolt! No! This Pokemon looks wrong!
It knows Earthquake.
Earthquake!
I'm pretty sure
That one hurt!
he doesn't know that in the Pokemon Red version, so I believe this is a different team. But we've lost. I'm not even mad. It was bound to happen. This team is not 100% optimized and EV trained for it, so I don't mind it. Alright, but that is one aspect of the Transfer Pack that I really wanted to show off. So, what's next? Alright, we still have the Dodrio Game Boy Tower and the Pokemon Lab left. Now, with the Dodrio Game Boy Tower, you can play your copy of Pokemon Red, Blue, or Yellow on the TV. And with the Dodrio Game Boy Tower, you can speed up this emulation to the 3 times. So that is pretty cool. So, as I've already told, I've trained up a team especially for this episode, and what I wanted to talk about that is I spent the last 3 weekends, playing Pokemon Red, going through all the gyms, and catching as many Pokemon as I can, and I've recorded a few clips from me playing that game, and I want to show those off right now. So we're going to cut away to a few clips, a few snippets of the adventure that I recorded. So I'll see you guys then. Alright everyone, these are the clips that I've recorded of me playing the old Pokemon games. So, I've prepared a few clips for you. Those include the first and last rival battle, some gyms in between, along with the battles with Giovanni, and catching all the legendary Pokemon. Now, this first clip, I chose Charmander because I love Charizard. You can teach him a variety of moves, but Charizard also makes the first few gyms quite difficult. Now, that was the first rival battle, pretty standard. And here I have the first Giovanni battle. As you can see, my Pokemon are quite a bit higher level than Giovanni, and what I wanted to point out is that I have a Nidoking and a Gyarados already at this level. So this Gyarados, I got it because I bought a Magikarp at Mount Moon and then I trained it. So I had a pretty low level beast in my team at around the second gym, and he stayed a beast throughout most of the adventure. So I also wanted to show off the gym battle with Sabrina because as you can see, when I was at the Giovanni battle I was quite over leveled, whereas at around the gym of Sabrina you start having your Pokemon be a little bit lower level than the gym leaders. Of course, this is solved by the stat bonuses that that each batch gives. So, right here we have the first legendary Pokemon, which is going to be Mew, and I'm going to catch it using the Mew glitch. So, here we have Mew. First use Thunder Wave on it, then lower its health with Geodude, and then it's just throwing Pokeballs at it. It doesn't have any healing moves, so that's pretty good. Now, what I want to point out is that some of my Pokemon, like Pikachu, Nidoking, and Gyarados, all have Thunderbolt, and you only get 1 TM Thunderbolt in this game. And I used some not legal item cloning methods that would be normally not be used, but I just want to get this adventure over as quickly as possible with teams and moves as efficiently as possible. So here we have Articuno, and Articuno, Moltres, and Zapdos don't have any healing moves despite being level 50, but they are pretty difficult to catch when even when paralyzed and at low HP. So we're just going to chuck balls at it, and eventually it will get caught. Now, that was Articuno. Next up is Zapdos. Now, I first used Pikachu to use Thunder Wave to lower its speed, lower the chance of it hitting us, and then I throw Snorlax at it because Snorlax can tank a lot of hits. Unfortunately, over at the Articuno fight, Snorlax got critical hits, so he was one hit KO'd. And so next up we have the final battle with Giovanni, and you're once again going to notice that our Pokemon aren't as high level as his highest level Pokemon. But because of stat boosts, because of badges, we can still compete at it pretty easily. And we have an efficient team with very efficient moves, and I'm happy about that. Alright, and that's the final gym battle over. Now, next clip is going to be Moltres, which is the final legendary bird that you catch in the Victory Road. So, once again, the standard procedure of using Thunder Wave and then throwing Snorlax at it, and that he will use Ice Beam on it. Alright, so a few more Pokeballs, and Moltres is caught, the Flame Pokemon. Alright, now our next clip is going to be the Elite Four, and I've sped up these clips up until the final rival battle, which is when we're going to take a step back and have the regular speed again of the emulation. So, Lorelei is not that difficult. You just have to throw your Zapdos and your Gyarados at it and use Thunderbolt a lot, and then you'll eventually win. You can see that we are starting to be very underleveled compared to the Elite Four, and the final Pokemon battle of the Elite Four is going to be quite difficult because of that. Is what I would normally say, but we have the stat boosts of the badges. Now next up is going to be Bruno. And Bruno is quite easy when you have a Water and Psychic type Pokemon. They excel a lot at this battle. So for Onix we have Gyarados. And then for Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee, we have Kadabra, who knows Psychic. Now, I didn't evolve my Kadabra for these battles yet, because I want to show off how that works in Pokemon Stadium. We'll get to that soon. So, that was the battle with Bruno over. Now it's Agatha, who is a Ghost-type trainer, which is quite difficult when they know Hypnosis and Dream Eater and all of that. But we're not gonna have too much trouble at this battle. I of course throw Gyarados first at it. Unfortunately it gets put to sleep, so I switch out to Kadabra and I just brute force my way through with Psychic. And then Thunderbolt for the Golbat, and then I'm going to use Snorlax, who knows Earthquake. Once again, I used TM cloning for that. So, because Gengar didn't have the Levitate ability back in the first generation, Earthquake is still a very good move at battling him. Alright, so this is Lance, or Lance. I have no idea how you pronounce that correctly. But he starts off with a Gyarados, who knows Hyper Beam, and we are going to throw our own Gyarados at it, which is very low level compared to it. So I use Snorlax with its Ice Beam, who can also freeze the opponent, which it just did. Now, Hyper Beam does quite a lot of damage, but Snorlax is a tank and can survive. Now, Aerodactyl is quite dangerous because he is extremely fast and knows Supersonic. Before that, we have Zapdos. And now, one thing I want to point out is that this Dragonite is only going to do Barrier against our Nidoking because it thinks that its Psychic type move, Barrier, is super effective against our Nidoking. So it's just going to spam barrier at us, well, it doesn't do any damage. That is something I discovered during the Twitch Plays Pokemon streams. So yeah. Now it's time for the final battle with the rival. His name is Blue. He is the real Pokemon League champion. Alright, are you still as cocky? Forward to seeing you. Should keep me starved. Powerful Pokemon. That would beat any Pokemon type. We'll see about that. So, you're the most powerful trainer in the world. Yeah, right. Let's see if we can defeat you with Pokemon that are about 20 levels below yours. Because he starts off with Pidgeot, I will start off with Zapdos. And use Thunderbolt on it. There's no need to use Thunder Wave or anything. Unfortunately, that doesn't one-hit KO. However, all of Pidgeot moves will not do any decent amount of damage. And finally, Zapdos grew 1 level. I got it out of the box right before the Elite Four. I've been using Pikachu up until the Elite Four because I'm saving Pikachu for something more special. Alright, Alakazam. We can try to brute force you using Body Slam, which has same type attack bonus. And Snorlax will be able to survive your Psychics. Now, one thing I want to point out is that battle effects and animations are turned on. This somehow happens automatically when you go into the final rival battle fight. It's not that annoying, but I wish it would just turn on when you tell it to. So Rhydon has very low special and won't be able to survive this. Now, Gyarados grew 1 level. There's 3 more Pokemon left. Gyarados should also be fit to defeat Arcanine. Alright, so let's use Surf. Alright, Executor. We have Charizard for that. Alright. Flamethrower should be able to deal with it. However, it is going to use Hypnosis and then use... I think it's Bullet Seed? Oh, I mean Barrage. It used Barrage, and because that took so long, I've decided to speed up that part of the fight. And I used a full Restore. And one last Fire Blast. I mean Flamethrower will finish it off. And now the final Pokemon until you meet Mewtwo is Blastoise, who is level 68, which is the strongest Pokemon you will encounter up until Mewtwo. I said 68 by accident, it's meant to be 65 of course. But of course we have Zapdos to deal with you. Alright, that is 1 more Thunderbolt and we are the champion. Yes, your reign is over already. Yes, you did. Alright, so that is going to drag on for a little bit, so we cut straight to the Mewtwo battle. So Mewtwo is level 70. I used some rare candy cloning to get my Pokemon up to the right level to deal with Mewtwo. Now, Mewtwo's lowest stat is of course defense, and it has barrier for that. Mewtwo is just like the legendary Pokemon, uncatchable unless you have it paralyzed, burned, frozen, or asleep. But one thing that makes Mewtwo extra difficult is that it has the move Recover, so it can recover its own health back. So chipping away at it is very difficult, so I've decided to speed that up. And then once it was at low HP, I started using Ultra Balls at it until it started using Recover again. So it only takes a few Ultra Balls to catch Mewtwo, and then I want to point out one last thing. So this is going to be the last Ultra Ball we throw in the game. And we've caught Mewtwo, the ultimate Pokemon. So, I want to point out one last thing, and that is that I've caught every single Pokemon in this game that appears in the wild, but I've not evolved all of them. I'm going to save that for a later episode, but every time I entered a new route, I would catch all Pokemon until I can move on to the next route. So I've caught every single wild Pokemon and I've registered it in the dex. And that is how your dex looks like when you have caught them all but not evolved all of them. So that is what I wanted to point out, and I guess that marks the end of the Pokemon First Generation Game Boy games playthrough. I will see you guys back in Pokemon Stadium. Alright, so I've showed off some parts of my adventure and I've commentated over them. I hope you enjoy that. So there's one last thing that the Transfer Pack and a copy of Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow allows you to do, and that is visit the Professor Oak Research Laboratory. Now you choose one of the 1 to 4 cartridges that you have inserted. Now, I use file copying to get 2 copies of the same cartridge, into the transfer packs. I'm emulating, so I had to do some technical mumbo jumbo that I'm not going to go into too deeply. But there's a few things that I would like to show off in the in Oak's laboratory that need 2 cartridges. Alright, so I'm going to insert one. Now, I was entrusted with a Pokemon for you. It's in this Pokeball. Take good care, Kiss. Take the ball and tell me more where to put it. Alright, so, as I've already shown, you get a reward for beating the champion, which can be Pokemon like Ammonite, Amistar, the starter Pokemon, Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan. Alright. So, let's see how it works. And the Pokemon is now stored into the box. Save and quit. Alright. Now, with this, we are now in the Oak's laboratory, and there's quite a few things you can do. Let's start with this. Let's see what it does. This is the Pokédex. You can view your Pokemon seen and caught using this machine, and you can even sort them by number or by their, characters. Let's see. Let's have a look at Chansey. Now, this is emulated, so this will probably look pretty bad, but there's nothing I can do about that. So remember, it's emulated and there will be errors in emulation. Like this one. Now, you can look at Chansey while she's, you know, hopping around. You can turn the camera. I wish this would work perfect, but I guess not. So, you can look at the Pokemon's, their height and weight. You can see the area in which they are caught on the Kanto region. This is a 3D render of the Kanto region, which is pretty cool. So, that does it for this part. Let's see. Now, this is a machine that you can use to organize your Pokemon or your items, just like how you would use the PC in, you know, in the Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow game. So, I don't think I want to move any Pokemon, but it's here if you would like to. You can manage items. As you can see, I have quite a few TMs. And you can manage your boxes. You can see how many Pokemon are in a box. So I have 20 in the first 3 boxes and then 19 in one box. I must have switched the boxes. I must have switched the boxes around, and you can move Pokemon to other boxes and so forth. You can check a list for HMs and TMs, but that crashes the game, it seems. Oh well. And we're back. As I said, emulation is not always perfect, but there's one thing left that I would like to show off. With this device, you can trade Pokemon directly from one cartridge to the other. Now, I have never ever tried this before, so I would really like to see what happens, and I want to, you know, discover it live with you guys. So, I don't know how this works. Let's see it ourselves. And one particular thing that I would like to do is trade a Pokemon that evolves through trading. For example, Kadabra. I want to see if the Pokemon will actually evolve using this method. Yeah. Let's see here. Yes, I would like to trade between these 2 cartridges. I would like to trade Kadabra for another Kadabra. Alright, let's see what's going to happen. Maybe he will evolve, I don't know. This is a first time reaction because I've never done this before. I'm excited. Let's see what happens. And I think it's successful. What is this? It evolved. It really evolved. Oh, that is so awesome. Obviously you can't see it clearly, but they evolved. Both Kadabras from the same game, from different save files, both evolved. For this particular video, I would like to quit without saving. But that was pretty cool. I'm excited. I'm amazed. But that is the very last thing that I wanted to show off of the Transfer Pak. We've gone over importing the Pokemon to the actual game in order to make them fight. We've gone over the Dodrio Game Boy Tower, allowing you to emulate Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow on the TV. And we've gone over Oak's Laboratory, which you can do various things, including trading Pokemon in order to make them evolve. So, this has been Gigoke7 with another bonus episode of Pokemon Stadium. I have maybe 1 or 2 more bonus episodes planned. We'll see when we get there. But this has been Gigoke7. Thank you for watching. See you guys then.